Good evening, I'm Helen from the Neuchâtel News. And for tonight's breaking headline, there has been a sighting of a glowing cat in Neuchâtel, Switzerland. Let's cross over live.
I have seen a green cat on the street, and shining is a cat green shine.
But it was a big, no, not so big, but a green cat, really glowing cat, you know. So at first I was a little bit afraid because I don't realize what it was really, but it was a green cat, yeah.
Scientists have confirmed that it is in fact a cat that has been genetically modified. This leads us onto our theme tonight, genetic engineering and food. We are thrilled to have live with us tonight Professor Manny from the Organic Consumers Association in Germany and Dr. Furchtbauer, a biomechanical engineer from Capacity University in Australia. Dr. Furchtbauer, can you explain to us what exactly is genetic engineering?
Good evening and thanks to you, Helena. Glowing cats in Switzerland. I wonder what you will think of next. Web-spinning goats? Ah, wait, we already have those as well. How is this even possible, you ask? The answer is genetic engineering, and today we will talk about genetic engineering of food in particular. To understand genetic engineering, it is important to understand the traditional way of cultivating food. For centuries, farmers have picked organisms with desirable traits and crossbred them together. As this process requires many backcrosses, it takes several years and it is restricted to genetically similar species. Artificial selection can be as simple as choosing one species of cows that produce lots of milk and one with pretty fur. You breed with both of them to get pretty cows with lots of milk. On the other hand, with genetic engineering, it's possible to directly modify a certain trait of an organism by adding, deleting or changing the segments of the DNA. So what that means is you can transfer genes between totally unrelated species that you would normally not interbreed in nature. Being creative here, you could, for example, insert the part of a DNA from a cocoa plant in the DNA of a cow that is responsible for the nutrient and protein makeup of milk and end up with chocolate milk. This technology could enable us to feed a world population that counts 7 billion and keeps growing. Let me give you some examples that highlight the advantages of genetic engineering. Genetically modified rice provides a high amount of vitamin A, especially in developing countries and countries of very specific diet. This so-called golden rice can help to prevent blindness in children caused by vitamin A deficiency. Crops can be genetically changed to be resistant against viruses, produce their own insecticides, need less nutrition and to withstand harsher weather conditions in an age of global warming. Another example from the medical world is the cheap and efficient production of insulin, which is done by taking human genes and inserting the insulin-producing part of it into bacteria, which then grow it for us. We live in a challenging time of the humankind, and genetic engineering could provide solutions to some of the many problems we are faced with. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. And Dr. Furchtbauer, you think that genetic engineering is the way of the future, whereas, Dr. Manny, you are on the other side of the fence. Explain.
Hello, Ms. Robert. First, long-term impacts on human health are still unknown. Due to the copyright, scientists have to seek permission from GM food firms before publishing researches. As a result, most tests that state the safety of GM food have been made by biotech firms themselves. Second, there are negative impacts on the environment. For example, GM crops that produce their own pesticides kill not only the pests but also other insects that play an important role in ecosystems. Additionally, GM plants can easily crossbreed with non-modified plants. Buffer zones, one possible solution, lead to the waste of land resources. Another solution are plants that are viable for only one growing season. As a consequence, farmers have to buy GM seeds every year at a price determined by firms holding a monopoly. Finally, GM food isn't the solution for world hunger because it doesn't produce greater yields than common food production, and there is already enough food on the planet to feed the world. Thank you.
Okay. Anja Furchtbauer, Dr. Manny, thank you for joining us. Now we're moving over live to our reporter Sophia Pepper from Greece, who has set out to find out more. Over to you, Sophia.
Hello, Ellen. So, My goal is to look into the differences between the regulations in Europe and in the USA in genetically modified food. In Europe, non-genetically modified organisms, GMOs, can be cultivated if it hasn't received a prior authorization from national evaluation agencies and the European one. That means that no member state can decide alone on the cultivation of GMOs on its territory. But in the USA, the situation is completely different. They follow the same policy for the conventional food and the genetically modified food because they believe that they should focus on the nature of the products and not on the procedure in which they were produced. But despite what Europe and USA believes now, it is more likely that the future of biotechnology will be defined by China, India and Brazil, the new major producers of GMOs. Thank you, Helen. Back to you.
Thank you, Sophia. So that is all from us tonight. On behalf of the team at the Neuchâtel News, we'd like to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.